Is that we have taken some questions from the audience, and most of these are for individual candidates. And I believe I still have the microphone. And that, it's on now. This will go for Senator Billy Odell.
Someone else.
And this question is to Senator Odell, why are you not supporting the school choice bill?
The school choice bill, we have not debated the school choice bill in the Senate. I think the House passed it a couple of weeks ago, but it hasn't been taken up in the Senate. I haven't said I'd support it or not support it.
Okay, and actually I have another one for you. This question is, where is the $180 million coming from to dredge the Charleston Harbor if it's not being borrowed?
It's coming out of the general fund, of the $400 million new dollars that we've got. There is a plan, possibly, to borrow money in the future, but that hasn't been decided yet.
All right, sir. This next one will go to Senator Bryant. Senator, would you ever vote for any bill that puts any restrictions on our rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
All right. Another one for you, Senator Bryant. What are your feelings about voucher system for parents to send their children to private school?
Well, there's a difference. Vouchers, I oppose. Vouchers, the government stays in the loop. I do support tax credits, which go to families that choose otherwise. And there's one thing that people misunderstand about tax credits. Tax credit takes 1/3 out of what we spend per child out of the public system. So if a parent decides to take their child and put them in a private school and they take the tax credit, guess what happens to the 2/3 of the funding? Well, it stays with the school with one less student. So the school choice measures that I have supported actually increases per pupil funding in the public schools. It adds the free market principles, the competition, and I've been a long-time supporter of school choice.
All right, thank you. Next question goes to Don Bowen, Jr. And I will read this directly. It says, you had two offices you could run for, Senate District 3, which Kevin Bryant currently occupies, and House District which Brian White holds, and you chose to run against Kevin Bryant. That indicates to me that you think Kevin Bryant has been doing a good job representing us and protecting our freedom and doesn't deserve to continue in that office, and that Brian White has done a good job and does deserve to continue in that office. Could you explain your position, sir?
My decision to run against Senator Bryant is actually based on his position on the question you just asked on school choice. He's got legislation currently sitting in his Senate subcommittee bill that is legislation that I disagree on. That's the difference between Senator Bryant and myself, and that's the reason that I'm running against him.
Okay, and this one for Don Bowen, Sr. What plans do you have for ensuring state money for education is used effectively for students and teachers? Teachers don't have to buy supplies.
Well, as you all know, I'm all the time trying to come up with some kind of system to put more money in the classroom. I believe that we have way too much money in the administration held up in that end. If we would take and do shared services using having one financial department per county, one personnel department per county, and one procurement department per county, that would free up about $156 million that we could put down in the classroom where the rubber actually meets the road. Another thing that we could do to save tax dollars, not necessarily that could go to the classroom, but we spend $212 million on architectural fees alone. And you put that on the top end of a 30-year note, that's putting a burden on the backs of taxpayers, businesses, and you to the tune of about $600-something million that y'all have to pay back. I put in a bill to eliminate the county school board. That's $700,000. Your delegation can approve that budget, so can your county council. I don't think we need, in this economy, to spend $700,000 down there on Bleckley Street when we could be buying paper, pencils, and whatever we need, even ensuring that a teacher stays in the classroom. I actually calculated how much money we spend in the classroom on a daily basis for instructional purposes in a continuous manner. We spend 25.6 cents out of every one of your tax dollars in the classroom, and that's wrong. We need to manage better. That's a term that the business community has understood for years, and we've got to get those principles put in our school system because we can't afford to tax anybody anymore. Our homes are 40% undervalued. A lot of us know people or have lost our jobs out there. We cannot afford to tax our way out of this. We've got to manage our way out of it.
Okay, thank you. And this one is, I guess, for everyone, and it mostly applies to the incumbents because I don't think that obviously any of the challengers would really have access to this information at this time. The question is, what does the state pay for your elected position? Each of you, the Senate and House, have a set pay. Do you or would you take the $12,000 in district and use it for your personal income, which comes up to $22,500? Apparently, that shows up on the state ethics financial report.
That's interesting because, folks, some of elected officials try to say that we only make $12,000 a year. We get $1,000 a month for in-district expense. There's no requirement for any record keeping, even though we pay taxes on that money. When people ask how much I make, I say I make $24,000. And I do keep records of how I spend the in-district expense. We're not required to, but I do keep records on how I spend every part of that $1,000 that they call in-district expense. I'd rather do away with it because I think what they're doing is they're trying to say, well, we only make $12,000, and they try to pad their wallet through a different way when you're not looking. And I think y'all are smarter than that. I say $24,000.
Okay, let's have each of the. Okay, well, let's go with the incumbents first, and then I'll let the challengers have something. But this is something that obviously the incumbents, it's a current issue for them, and I'll let people respond.
Kevin's right. You know, what we say we're making is, I think it's 10,400, and then we get the 12, so it'll be 22. But the in-district expense that we do get, I think most people spend it doing the constituent service that they need to do. I mean, I've got a district that goes from Piedmont to Island, Star, Rural District, Honeypath, Williamston, Belton, Honeypath, and all the way into Greenwood. So I'm driving a good bit. And as you all know, the gas prices have gone up. I think it's money that needs to be spent. I don't keep records on it. But I think it's well spent doing constituent service. Thank you.
All right, let's let Representative Bowen go next.
$10,400. That's what we claim as salary. Now, that in-district expense, the district that I represent is on Harvell Lake, and as you all know, that lake has a 900-mile shoreline, and House District 8 is all around that lake. And by the time you weave in and out all those little roads up and down that lake, you run some miles up. I put over 40,000 miles a year on my car for driving around attending to constituent services. I also have to attend functions. Everybody thinks that we're in office for 3 days a week. You all look at my calendar. I'm booked on Monday, I'm booked on Thursday afternoon, I'm booked all day Friday, and I was down in Townville working on a tractor show making cotton candy, popcorn for all the gang, and I couldn't hardly get out of bed this past Sunday. And I went to Washington about these water issues on this lake out here and met with Lindsey Graham, Jim DeMint, Jeff Duncan, and the Washington Corps. I paid $600 out of my own pocket to show the people in the district that I am sincere about trying to do what's right. Now, we get other money to operate our offices in Columbia. Now, I call it the Bridge Club down there. So a bunch of ladies that come in, they go eat breakfast, and then they start talking about what they're going to have for lunch. And I can't go with that. I have my own legislative aid. I send out about 60 or 70 constituent letters a week, and I return 50 cents on every dollar of my operational budget back to the state. Now, in our delegation office, we had 2 secretaries, and I went in to get some typing done one day, and one of them said, "Well, I don't type." I said, "You know, I've been in personnel for years with Bryant." So I went down and pulled the job description. She was supposed to be typing 85 words a minute. She was drawing $40,000. So that position's been eliminated. We have got to watch every penny of y'all's tax money just like it's our own. Thank you.
All right, Josh Putnam, please.
Well, obviously, our salary is $10,400. We got our in-district money. That's what kind of people don't really talk about because it's really a salary because we pay our federal taxes on it, we pay our state taxes on it, we pay our retirement system out of it. So it is counted as income. I have to report that as income. My fellow colleague, Representative Kevin Ryan, he did a calculation. And this past year, he turned in his tax reforms. He had like $33,000 is what the state of South Carolina paid him. My other friend, Representative Tom Corbin up in Greenville County, what he does is he puts all of his money into a bank account, and then anything that's involved, constituent services or hotel rooms down in Columbia, he takes it out of there. And it leaves him about $6,000 at the end of the year, out of that, I guess, $33-something thousand. I run my office like Representative Don Bowen, very, very fiscal conservative. I have an LA that I hire. He was a graduate student at USC. He does my mail, but we will be returning several taxpayer dollars back to the state at the end of today, at the end of this year, because we just choose not to use that. And also, I mean, I stay in a house down in Columbia with a few of my old college roommates who are in graduate school. So, I mean, there's ways to cut the costs, but really, I mean, it's not about pay. That's not the reason why we do this. I mean, if I got paid $0, I would still be signed up to be your representative. But it's about making a difference in Columbia. It's not about the pay. It's not about investing myself at all. It's about the future of this country and the future of this state. That's the reason why I got in here. It wasn't about some lavish pay or something like that or a title or anything. It's about fighting for your rights down in Columbia. So that's the reason why I'm here. But we get around $33,000, really.
All right, let's go back down here with Don Bowen Jr. And I'd like for you gentlemen to comment on this, if you can briefly. I realize that you haven't exactly seen what they're talking about, but obviously I think you understand the issue.
Yeah, I understand the issue. I think that the in-district money, from what I understand, is intended to go towards constituent services. I would agree that that's a good use of taxpayer money to put your elected official closer in touch with you, has them where they can come out and attend more events. I think this district is 42 miles long, going down 95, 42, 43 miles long. So I wouldn't want to say that the in-district expense money is a waste of money. It's put to good use.
Okay, and now Rodney Harvell.
I think there's a very short and simple solution to this, and Senator Bryant's already figured it out, and that's keeping records of how we spend that $12,000. I understand the concern. I've had a conversation with people in this audience who are concerned about this thing, and the short and sweet of it is if legislators just kept a record of how they spent that $12,000 so that they could prove, just the same way they prove that they spend campaign money on campaign stuff, if they kept records of their in-district expense fund and it was made public, then I think it would solve the problem.
All right, Ted Luckadoo.
The only salary that I have been told is $10,400, and you certainly don't get into this arena here to make money. I think the money that is paid to these people that serve the people of South Carolina is probably well spent. I know you don't get into it for money. It's like when I was coaching, I didn't get into coaching for money. I think at one time we figured out we were making like 28 cents an hour for the hours we were putting in coaching. So I'm sure the hours that this job entails would not, you realize right quickly that you're not in it for the money.
Jonathan Walker.
I agree with Coach Luckadoo. Like I said, I'm new to politics, and the only thing I knew about was the $10,400. I do agree that the taxpayers should know where that money is spent. I think that's only fair. I think we should know where all our money is spent. That's why I'm running, to make a difference, because I feel like the tax dollars are being wasted, especially in Anderson County. Thank you.
Hamp Johnson.
Quickly, I think the constituent services money that we're talking about, I think it's real important that we keep it in our district. I mean, once again, if we're having to buy supplies, if we're having to spend, say, on a booster club or a civic organization, we're keeping that money in district. That's the taxpayers' money. Well, let's put it back with the small businessman. Let's put it back with the civic club. Let's put it back to where it can be put to use within our districts.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. That concludes this portion of the program. I want to thank each of you for coming, and for your service for those that are serving and for those that are challenging those. We thank you for your putting your name out there for service as well. Thank you all very much. I'll turn it over now to Janice to conclude the program.